All right, let's get a little bit deeper in our wicks. So remember what we have always said, you have a body and your wick. A body is a range of its own and a wick is a range of its own. So the reason why studying wicks is very important is because sometimes they give you a view or they tell you a story, especially when it comes to rejections. They show it to you early and you can always use this to your advantage. So as you can see, price made a wick here, right? This is the low of our wick, right? So now, if we look at the price action around this area, right, you can see how price is playing around this area, but there is no candlestick that's closing below, the low of our wick. All right, so yes, we could say, okay, maybe this bearish candlestick here tried closing below, right? If we were to put our zone right there, but as you can see, price went through, however, pushed back up and closed within the wick range. Now, this is telling us that as much as we had bearish pressure, right, price is failing to keep pushing. So the bearish pressure is running out at the moment, and there might be a possibility of price reversing. All right, because if there was enough bearish pressure, then we would have seen this candlestick closing below the low of our wick. That would be the low of that wick range, right? If price closes below the wick range, that means price broke out, but price failed to do so. All right, so that's the first thing, right? Now, you can also see the same price action. Let's say, for example, price made a wick, right? If price had closed above, if price had closed here, right, it would have closed above this high, meaning price would have broke out. However, price rejected and put back and closed below the wick, below the high, right, giving us a very big wick. Now you have a body on that candlestick, right, and then we have a wick. So the body is a range of its own, and the wick area is a range of its own. So this wick area is a range of its own, right? So if we were to put our high, right, this high that price rejected and gave us the big wick, you can see how price, see this candle, this bullish candle right here, this bullish candlesticks right here, they tried pushing above, but price kept pulling back and closing below. And the best thing about this situation is you can see how price failed to even close within the wick range. So price was already rejecting the wick range. Price was refusing to close within the wick range. This tells us that as much as price was pushing higher, price is ready to push lower. And as you can see, that's exactly what price did. All right. If you look at that candlestick, the body range, look how big it is. Look how much volume it has compared to the candlesticks that are around here. All right. So if price had closed, let's say above, maybe in the wick range, then we potentially could have seen price pushing higher. But just the fact that price was refusing to close within the wick range, that was telling us that the bearish pressure has finished for this moment. Price is ready to reverse and give us a push lower. People are ready to sell. All right. Now, if you guys want to see more examples, this happens every time. If you look over here, all right. Right. Another example. See, price give us a wick. What happens after that wick? We have a wick low. You can see how price even pushed lower, but closed within the wick range, correct, right? The next candle didn't even push below the low of the wick range. It closed bullish within the wick range, and the next candle tried pushing lower, got rejected, and still closed within the wick range. Now, this was already price telling us that as much as price was bearish, price might be ready to reverse, or price might be ready to give us some sort of a retracement before it makes another push. In this case, price was ready to reverse, telling us that price is in a range, as you can see, since price is in the same area and it's moving sideways. All right, so if we had bearish pressure, then we would have seen price pushing lower. However, price kept closing within the wick range, telling us that price is ready to push higher. All right. Of course, there are other techniques that you can also use to say, okay, now price is confirming that it is now pushing higher, because this is a signal and then you need a confirmation. You can also look at this as a confirmation if you want that small stop loss. Now, this works most of the time, but I'm not saying it's always going to work. You have to understand your wicks. You have to analyze your wicks to understand how it's working. All right. Now, let's look at one more example. All right. All right. If you look at this area right here, this happened very recent. This should be New York session, opening of New York session, right? As you can see, price created another wick, right? Big body, big wick, giving us a body range and a wick range. As you can see, price tried pushing higher, but closed within the wick. So if price was bullish, right, then we should have seen price, the next candlestick, pushing higher, because there was bullish pressure. Price is telling us there's bullish pressure, but if there's enough bullish pressure, then we should have seen price pushing higher. However, the next candlestick is bearish, right? The next candlestick is bearish and it's pushing price lower back into the body range, right? However, as you can see, price did pull back up and still closed somewhat below the wick range, telling us that price could actually fall from here. However, considering that price had a wick that's rejecting, that tells us that price had all the right to retest the high that was created by the previous week, which price did before it pushed lower. So you could either enter there, have your small stop loss. The stop losses are very small that you can always, if you use proper risk management, you can always manage it, right? So you could have entered there, or you could have waited for the candle to close, giving you final confirmation. And either way, you would have had a great entry and a great trade that followed through. That trade was done within 30 minutes. All right. So wick ranges are very important. Mastering your candlesticks and mastering your wicks as two separate things is very beneficial, because wicks will give you the signals way before the candlestick is confirmed, right? And then you can just use the candlestick to confirm your entries, to confirm your exits, just to confirm your trades in general and to manage your trades better. All right. Okay, any questions?